Right guys, it's Saturday afternoon. Booking lunch for with my daughter for tomorrow and doing a few other bits and pieces. One of the things I will say about being back in the UK, because I do, the birds are a bit noisy, because I normally feed them, so they're sort of shouting at me to give them some food. But yeah, they're coming in, I can see them flying in from other trees further down because they know there's food coming up. Um, yeah, yeah, lost my chain of thought. Yeah, one of the things I want to say, one of the things I do, which is a bit different than a lot of people focus on, is I'm not looking at earning money for this week. I'm looking at earning money for the long term. So one of the key elements that is a little bit different is the fact that the income streams are not just on what I'm earning at the moment, which is sort of a bit of stability for business-wise, etc., and increasing our money for Spain, etc., and also the Philippines is continuing as is. If you need any apartments for rent, by the way, in the Philippines, we've got I think it's 2 or 3 available at the minute. I've got somebody booking in that's actually going into the Philippines for some dental work. So he's on about booking one, but the other 2 I think are available since Mark moved up to another area. But anyway, yeah, so the reason I'm bringing this up, because a lot of guys and girls, want to be able to sort of break the binds that tie you to industry, country, etc. And this is why I was discussing the car in the last video. There's 2 reasons for that. The first one is that I may go with something like a little Peugeot 307 or something for the UK, just because it's for getting from A to B. But at the same time, if it becomes more a case of I pick up one of the larger contracts, it's more client facing. So I might get another Mercedes A180, the same as there's a couple of videos of the A180s, because they're £10,000 car. But at the same time, I know they're very reliable. They're a nice looking car, and I enjoy driving them. So that's why I'm sort of umming and ahhing, because the Peugeot would be about £1,000. It's throwaway. It'll probably end up with my daughter having it, because at the moment she ain't going to be driving for this year, and they'll probably start her lessons soon. But at the same time, there's no sense of urgency on it, because she's off to university, so she doesn't really need a car. At the end of the day, one of the things a car is an expense. The only reason I need one is simply for business, because I can float around the country here, fly into Birmingham, but also gives me a bit of mobility, because I don't use public transport. I'm not a fan of going on the train. You've probably seen some of the, if you follow me on my 360 stuff, the trains aren't the best, so I'm not a real fan of them. I don't really use the buses at all, which only sort of leaves taxis, and I can't justify the amount that the taxis cost, so I need a vehicle. But that's the point. I don't want to spend too much on a vehicle. The reason I would spend it on the Mercedes is I would keep it for probably the next 5 years and simply use it to make money. I'll make it tax deductible, and that would be why I would spend that amount of money. At the same time, if I got the cheaper one, spend £1,000 on the car, it's throwaway. It's sort of like run these contracts this year, then give it to my daughter for next year. So that's why the car is important. Because the main thing with this is the Mercedes locks me into actually getting that money back by generating more income. The other car doesn't really matter. I just write it off as an expense. It's gone. Doesn't really matter. And that's one of the key things, is sort of moving yourself away from being locked into a country, like buying bricks and mortar. If you don't want to be in the country long term, unless you're going to rent it out or whatever, it may become more of a liability, especially if it's got a mortgage on it. We're in Spain long term, which is why I want to buy there, because I want to buy it. It's cheap. It costs us about €100,000 to get about €100,000 to buy the property we want. But at the same time, the kids will learn it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It'll be a long-term investment, but the fact that I would have office space means I can generate more videos, more work stuff, so it pays off long-term anyway. Also, I've been working with Jay over at Real Deal. I don't know if you know Jay or not, but it's worth popping over to his channel. We've got a few ideas that are starting to pay off now. Jay found something quite interesting and we've sort of tapped into it, and we're going to be looking at expanding some of the ideas on that. So all in all, everything's moving, everything's sort of heading in the right direction. But for me, the contract stuff that I'm doing in country, I want to try and get away from. I want to try and get it stable so I can do it remotely. Been talking recently to a friend of ours, Wayne, about doing a cloud CAFM system. CAFM is computer aided facilities management. Basically manages all your maintenance regimes, all that sort of stuff, budgets, etc. So there's something going on there. This big fire in London has thrown turmoil into facilities in many ways because they haven't been managing them properly. In all honesty, I was talking to a guy relating to, I can't see, the problem is I can't really talk about some of the client stuff, but let's just say we've been waiting for an accident to happen because the neglect has been ongoing for decades. It's been ongoing before I even started work, because facilities management basically removed the responsibilities from clients to a company that is basically taking responsibility of management of the risks, etc., and liabilities. That is a facilities management company, who then pass it on to somebody else. Because before you'd have like fire inspections, and it used to be the fire officer that would come and do it. Now you're responsible yourself. And this is why this becomes a complete farce, because the point is nobody's keeping an eye on these people. And it's an industry that's removed engineers and replaced them with accountants and yes men. They basically set themselves up for disasters. And I say bluntly because I think there is not enough people actually saying the truth, because they talk crap all the time, because this whole no blame culture, they only want to see positive things. Reality is, it's bollocks. In all honesty, it's complete and utter bollocks. Yeah, it's like you see them on LinkedIn, things like, recruited another 50 people for our new blah blah blah. It's not 50 new people. They didn't retain the other guys. They've left. When they've got the contract, they didn't 2p across, or they've left because the new company's a shower of whatever. That's reality. There was a thing that happened within a company I worked for. They had a load of voluntary redundancies on their engineering sector. The funny thing is the voluntary redundancies happened, and then there was a load of people that wanted to leave that weren't allowed. As soon as everyone had had their voluntary signed, sealed, delivered, the next thing is, the next layer, then all put their notices in and left. Because they have no confidence in the business anymore. It is a shower. It's a real shower as a business. This excessive outsourcing is killing everything. But yeah, there's not enough engineering people. Too many yes men, too many HR directors and all that sort of crap, and not enough people actually do anything. This is why you have instances like with the flats where there's that fire. Nobody's talking compartmental fire. What do you call it? Because you can't. The fire compartments would have saved people's lives. The cladding breached it. Now they were going, oh, the cladding this, the cladding that. The basic thing is it breached the floors. There's no getting away from that. But nobody wants to talk about that, because that is the reality. It breached the floors. You know, there was no division in there that protected contained the fire. They breached it. Doesn't matter if it's non-combustible, it's combustible. At the end of the day, they breach the basics, which is you split the floors up. You do not allow things to carry up to the next floor. You're supposed to protect against that sort of stuff. Not go up the outside of the building with flammable bloody things and then create a funnel chimney through the back of the cladding system. It's just a complete farce. And they'll faff around in it now. They'll faff around in it now until it leaves the media, because there's a lot of people responsible for this. It's all throughout the local authorities. It's not one or two. They're all in it. They've all signed off things that they shouldn't have done. When you're sitting there going, oh, well, the building regulations this, building regulations that, and they're not 100% sure, and then all you're hearing is, the police have got these people in. I'll tell you what, why not say bollocks to the police? Who cares what their inquiry is, because they'll fudge it up. Why not get things like CIBSE? Why not get RICS in? CIBSE is the Chartered Institute of Building Services Engineers. RICS is the Royal Institute of Chartered something off the top of my head. These are professionals. These are people that you should be bringing in, not a politician. Don't ask a politician's bloody viewpoint. Oh, the first thing they go is, well, I think we should have a moment's silence. Forget all that crap. And the reason I say it is because it's not from meaning. All they've done is they're robotic. They're not real people anymore. They're just bloody horrible. I mean, there's no depth to them. There's no emotion or anything. There's no responsibility. All they're concerned about is themselves. I know I'm ranting on a bit, but it annoys me. That's all I'll say on that. But the point is, yeah, there's professionals already there. And you'll find that there'll be articles and stuff written for the last 20 odd years saying X, Y, Z, and it's been ignored. Because I see it all day long. I see stuff where I write things, they're flagged up, pushed to the client, etc., and then ignored. Now the point for me is, as soon as I've signed off saying this is where your risks are, this needs upgrading, this needs to be done, this is in breach of this, that's my job done. Client is aware of it. I've kept all my documentation to prove I have told them. I have no liability. And I'm sure there will be people within CIBSE, there'll be people within RICS, etc., that would have highlighted this sort of stuff, and it's been ignored. I can guarantee it. And then suddenly this week it's like, well, let's go and ask a politician. Let's get the police to do an inquiry so they can fudge it up. No, why don't we do a proper one? Actually get people legally responsible. Let's see why it didn't work, rather than trying to lie to the public, in my viewpoint. Anyway, that's enough negativity for today. As you probably guess, I'm feeling a bit more upbeat today. Monday I've got a major meeting where this contract, I've got 6 weeks left on it. If I can get what I want on Monday, then I can rush everything through and be back in Spain in a few weeks. I've also got a major contract that may be coming through with a large air conditioning company. If that comes through, that's probably going to be enough money for me for the next 3 years. So I'm waiting to hear on that. The large dairy contract, waiting on a hearing on that as well to do their stuff. All in all, everything's moving. If I can get this CAFM system working and start to provide that sort of service, it's a license to print money in all honesty, because a lot of the other systems don't work properly. Yeah, but we'll wait and see on that. It's still early days, but I'm looking forward to getting more involved in that. It'll help me develop my computer skills on that side as well, because it's not something I've worked at. I've worked on development of the information that goes into these things, but actually developing the whole system around it, that'll be an interesting thing to do. Yeah, April and kids are happy out in Spain. My daughter here in the UK, she had her prom, so she's all happy with that. That went well. Yeah, everything's going okay. Yeah, financially we're fine. Our money's going up. I've got money in the Philippines, Spain, and the UK. because one of the things I will say, when I'm here working, the money in Spain increases, because the biggest financial drain, same as the Philippines, it's when I'm there. The Philippines money grows month on month because I'm not there. My mother-in-law takes a percentage out every month, pays the electric, gets food, etc., just looks after everything. The rest of it just keeps growing in the bank. In the same way, in the UK, I'm only sort of spending less than a month's money per month. Sorry, less than a week's money per month. I'm sort of about 400 quid a month in expenses, because everything else is tax deductible, you see, so everything goes through on the accounts. So yeah, doing okay. That's why when I bought the Mac, I know some people say, oh, it's expensive. No, it's not. It's written off as a tax expense. It's cost me nothing. It's coming off my the top end. That's where the car is the issue, because I could run the car through as a business expense if it's the Mercedes. If it's the Peugeot, it's a little bit more difficult, simply because I'll write it off to give it to my daughter. So that's why the Mercedes is more important, because at least it's easier to justify spending £6,000 to £10,000 on a car. It's harder to justify the 1,000, bizarrely, but we'll live in there. We'll get there. But yeah, apologies for not doing so much while I'm in the UK, but without a vehicle, I'm not really going anywhere. I do more stuff at the train station than anywhere else. And most of the time I'm sat in the conservatory here. I'm working on developing the data at the minute, so there's nothing really to see. Yeah. I know some people have asked when I'm going back to the Philippines. Well, at the moment, what's happened is April's mother's application's in, because they needed a new birth certificate, because there's a name misspelled on it. Welcome to the Philippines. That's been done now. That's been sorted out. But then you've got to wait between 3 and 6 months to get an appointment for the actual passport processing. So that's basically the hang up, because I want April's mother to come to Spain before I go to the Philippines. Yeah, that's basically it. Because the thing is, I promised to get, because the thing when we go to the Philippines, it's more important that April and her mother meet up than me going to meet April's mother. So that's why it's sort of priority, because especially after April's father died this year. So that's why that's more important to me. As a person, it's more important to me. I'm not in a rush. And I know some people, oh, you can't afford it. What? Utter bollocks. One of the things I want to stress to these idiots, and I will say idiots because they're trolling idiots. I maintain my standard of living in the Philippines, even when I'm not there. I have money that's generated in there. We own apartments. We own a small business there for the sari-sari, etc. We own the call center building, which operates when I'm there. It doesn't operate when I'm not there. But the point is, there is regular money in the Philippines. Ongoing, always. At the same time, Spain, we have regular income from the stuff that when I was sat at home, I generated on the internet, and that's making regular cash flow. Now, if you speak to Jay over a Real Deal, you will hear him, if you ask him, because he ain't going to tell you how we're making money, but let's put it this way. We're increasing our income by, I can't really say for the tax authorities in the UK, but let's just say enough that it could have a retirement plan within 2 years just to do that full time. We're generating cash on a monthly basis, and it's a growing venture, it's a growing investment, it's a growing entity. That's where I sort of spend my time. It's those things I look for. Because you can turn up to a day job anytime, and I find that these guys that are so negative assume everything rotates around the fact that you can't have any money, that's why you're not in the Philippines. I've been to the Philippines. I spent nearly a decade there. My family's now in Spain. I don't need to go back to the Philippines. I'm going back this year because I need to go and see how everything is, evaluate for the finishing off the apartment, because we've got our three bedroom apartment, not whether make it a big 2-bed or make it a 3-bed. But the point is, I've got the construction to do on that. I mean, we've got the building there. It's all the second fix, all the interior, all the what do you call it, the stud partitioning, put the walls in, etc. But the thing is, we already own it. We own that building. We own everything there. That's one of the things that people forget. We are already set up there long term. Everything's paid for. I don't have any mortgages. I have no debt. But the reason this income here in the UK at the current time is important is it's allowing me to use the money I have spare to invest in something else. I need that money to pay for the house in Spain. The house in Spain will cost me about 100,000 euros, maybe a bit more, maybe about 110,000 after all the fees and costs. But the point is, I don't want a mortgage for 25 years. If I get into this, I want it paid off within 3 to 5 years. Less if I can help it. You know, unless that money has actually got a higher value somewhere else, I want it paid off and done. Because at the end of the day, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. I know my kids, if they went back to the Philippines, they're fine. If they stay in Spain, they're fine. My wife and kids will have no problems whatsoever. And that's important to me. That's my main motivation, is financially. I'm not interested in being a millionaire. I'm more interested in sustainability, spending time with my family, enjoying life, not about money. Money is come and go. You know, you die tomorrow, they're not going to bury you with it. It's of zero value in that sense. Although the world rotates around it, the point is, working my 9 to 5 is not for me. Where it's important is I make some money, I then bank the money, I then use that money for something else and generate income from it. I want to move away from 9 to 5 and working like now, where I'm sitting working here in the UK, to the point where I'm working less on things like the facility stuff and more on doing things like photography, video editing, drone footage, and things I want to do. Even if they're not going to make any money, doesn't really matter because I have other income streams. The point is, I move away from doing the stuff I need to do into stuff I like doing. Enjoying life. You know, I don't want to wait to retirement, and honestly, I don't want to. I want to do it now. I want to out of this rat race in the next 8 years. That's the reality. I'm tired of it. I'm bored of it. That's it. Can't say any more. But anyway, have a great weekend. I'm just going to go out shopping now. Thinking of getting a garden bench. So when I come out and do these videos, I'll be sort of sat over here. Sat in the sun, just on the edge here. So I can chill out. Yeah, because we don't have any garden benches. I've got a garden chair, but it's too low. I can't sit with my laptop on it. But yeah, have a great weekend, guys. If you enjoy my videos, by the way, please like and share them. Please comment. And I really appreciate everyone's comments relating to the condolences for my mother and also my father-in-law. I really appreciate that over the time. I just want to say thank you to everyone for that as well. But have a great weekend, guys. And one of the things, if you want to get to the Philippines, want to get to Spain, want to get wherever you want in life, if you're not doing it, today is the day you need to start. You need to start thinking how you're going to do it. See, one of the things I'm not failing at, but I'm not progressing as fast as I would like, is in speaking Spanish. I was actually looking this week to actually get a paying tutor to come and sort of slap it into me, because the problem I get is I get sidetracked with business. But if a tutor actually comes and says, Matt, it's 7 o'clock, that's when we're going to do Spanish for an hour, you need to sit down there and do Spanish, I can't say, I'll do it in a minute. It's going to be a case of, no, you'll do it now. And I need some of that going on. So if any of you guys actually want to teach Spanish to me, not Mexican Spanish, but Spain Spanish, please get in touch. We'll do it on Skype or whatever. But really keen to learn. I just need somebody to help me get on that. I know so many words, but you know, because I'm not speaking it, I struggle with the communication side. And I know as soon as somebody starts going, da da da, we start having a conversation, correcting me and getting it. That's what I need. I really need that. And I tell you what, as soon as that happens, it will sort of shoot forward and I'll be happy. You know, for me, learning Spanish is one of my important things for this year. I'm not expecting to be fluent. I'm expecting to be able to do a lot more than I am doing, which is what I really need. But anyway, guys, have a great weekend. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate you spending your time on my channel. Thank you.